Welcome back. In today's video, we are chatting about people pleasing. What is it? Where does it come from? How do you know if you're a people pleaser? And how do you reduce and eliminate people pleasing from your life?
Yes.
I'm
Absolutely.
Sarah Bivens, and I'm a transformation specialist, balanced lifestyle coach with the YourDay Balance Game. And I am joined by my lovely bestie, Erica. Erica, introduce yourself, please.
Yes, hello. My name is Erica James-Strayhorn. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I am also the coach coordinator with the YDBG.
Awesome. So let's talk about people pleasing for a few minutes because it comes up often in
Yes.
my conversations with clients. And then I just see it out there in culture and social media world. It's tossed around a lot. And even when I think it's not being explicitly talked about, that's what's happening. So I think
Exactly.
a lot of people are exhibiting people pleasing without even realizing that's what it is.
Right.
So from your perspective, what is people pleasing if you had to explain it in a nutshell to someone who didn't really know or it was new to
Yeah,
them?
for sure. In a nutshell, people pleasing is really any time that you're putting the needs and wants and values of someone else over your own. So it can be something as simple as, somebody's like, hey, let's go to the store together. I really want to hang out. But you're like, I'm really, really tired. I've had a long day. I would really love to stay home and relax. Yet, because you're really concerned about pleasing this person and making them happy, you're willing to forego your own needs to go hang out with them and do what it is that they want to do because you hold that to be more important.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing is the big hit here is when it's to your detriment, when you're
Yes.
really giving so much of yourself and you have nothing left, but you're also doing it because that's where you get a sense of validation. That's where you feel like you're wanted or loved is when you do whatever you think they want you to do, or they've told you that's what they want you to do.
And I think that's an
Oof.
important distinction that you made there about it's at your detriment because there's nothing inherently wrong, so to speak, with being there for other people, spending time with other people, doing things for them. It's when it's at a detriment to yourself, when you know that you're exhausted, you've already given all you had, and you really just want to do the things that you want to do to kind of fill your cup, yet you're ignoring that and doing the things that the other people want to do because like you said out of the sense of wanting to feel validated by them, wanting to be liked by them, and it is at a detriment to yourself for sure.
So where does some of that come from in your experience as a licensed and
Mm.
marriage family therapist? So you have that training, that background, and then you've also been in the world of coaching and working with people one-on-one, from experientially, but then also what you understand about it. Like, why would we develop that sort of tendency or a habit if it's at such a detriment to ourselves?
Right. Yeah, as with a lot of things that we experience in our adulthoods, this stuff comes from what we experienced when we were younger, when we were a child. It could be very much from the space of the times that you've done something for your parent, or you did something really nice for your sibling and you got really rewarded for that. You got a lot of attention for that. And you're like, oh wow, people really are happy with me and I get treats or I get hugs or I get a lot of great attention when I'm doing things for other people. And we translate that into our adulthoods and carry on that same feeling, that same, oh, if I do this for people, then they'll really enjoy it. They'll really like me. And so we do that in a space where we forsake what we really need and what really works best for us. So that's one way that it comes from childhood. Other times it comes from a space of like self-preservation, or maybe like doing what your parent doing what your parent asked you to do kept you
Mm,
safe, especially if you came from a household that may have been abusive or neglectful. If I do what my parent asked me to do, then they won't yell at me or they won't hurt me.
right.
So you take that perspective into your adulthood and you keep doing those same behaviors and patterns over and over again. Other times it is very much like we were saying before, because you feel like I need to do this with this person in order to be liked, to be accepted, and you've been habituated, so to speak, over the years that sometimes you don't even realize that you're doing it because it's so second nature to you. It's not until something unfortunately really impactful or maybe even tragic happens that you realize like this is not, I don't need to be doing this anymore, or you realize that some of the relationships that you held at a high value, they're only there because of all the things that you've done for this person, all the things that you've done for this relationship, yet it's not being reciprocated. And so a lot of times, again, we're used to doing these behaviors for so long that we don't even realize that this is actually a problem for me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you said so many great things there. One that hits for me personally, and this is something we're both in the boat of, is
Mhm.
parenthood and
Yeah.
motherhood.
Mhm.
And you have an almost 2-year-old, I have an almost 6-year-old and one on the way. And when you talk about a child modifying their behavior because of either a very, very obvious or even more not obvious thread of, this will keep emotional balance in the
Yes.
house if I
Yes.
do this thing, or if I act this way, or
Mhm.
my parents' emotional well-being is based off of how I do X, Y, or Z.
Mhm.
For whatever reason, for them to get that idea and to accept that, it it has me very aware of how I'm managing my own emotions and how I'm
Yes.
regulating around my daughter. And then as more come into the scene, because it can just, like you said, it can just incept, and then
Yes.
10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years go on, and you don't even realize you've been operating out of that the entire
Right.
time.
Yep.
But it just stems from, well, mommy was happy when I did
Exactly.
blank.
Yep. Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. And it is in those very nuanced moments where, for those of us who have an awareness of how our emotions and how, just the way we are with our kids, how that impacts them, it's still sometimes nothing that you can necessarily do as far as like changing your behavior around that to prevent that. It
mhm.
is very much sometimes to the child. And, what kids are very, very perceptive, they're
Yeah.
very intelligent, and it could be a split second, like maybe you blinked your eye this way or you breathe this way, and they've picked that up and now they've made it mean something, and now for whoever knows how long they're going to potentially, that's going to turn into a people pleasing behavior.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's go to the adult right now who's thinking about this or looking into this for themselves, and they're thinking, oh, I might be a people pleaser, and I've
Mhm.
likely been one for decades.
Right.
What, in addition to what we've already said, but to just kind of put them in one place, what are some things that you could look at to
Mhm.
identify, yeah, I have people pleasing tendencies, or I'm just like full blown a people pleaser?
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of it is like, okay, kind of like going back to the basic examples, somebody needs something from you, or somebody is asking you to be there for them, and you literally either don't have the energy, or you just don't want to. Like, you
Yeah.
literally just don't want to. And again, you're doing it out of a space where it's a detriment to you. And even though you know that I really need to be doing X, Y, and Z, you're not really listening to yourself. You're not listening to what your body or your mind needs, and you're allowing yourself to still show up for these other people in a way, again, that is not, it could be potentially harmful for you. And examples of that are like, okay, you have we all have jobs, we're working, we have work emails, and instead of us allowing ourselves the time and space from responding to those work emails, we're responding to work emails and allowing ourselves to be available around the clock
Mhm.
because of the notion of, I want to make sure everybody's happy. I want to make sure that, things get done, and I'm seen as a certain way in the eyes of my coworkers or whomever the person is. And, those instances of not setting those healthy boundaries for yourself and still helping other people, again, when you know that you're not in the space to do so because you're so concerned about pleasing them, making them happy, that is how it can show up in adulthood.